So today we're talking with Dr. Michael Neely, and Dr. Neely is a chiropractor, and we've been friends for a long time, but he also taught for my school years ago for about 9 years, a long time. So Dr. Neely has a background in bodywork as well as chiropractic, but tell me quickly about your background and where you come from, because that kind of helps us get a better idea of your insight.
Yeah, so I started in bodywork in 1993. And later on, I went on to chiropractic college, graduated in 2001, have integrated bodywork and chiropractic together throughout my career.
Right.
Yeah.
So you see the benefits of both, and you have worked with chiropractors in tandem, but you also have worked with massage therapists, both referrals outside as well as in your office.
That's right, yeah. Well. I used to have massage therapists that work for me, and I also, now I don't, but I share an office with independent practitioners, and I will refer out to the community as well.
Right, so you have naturopaths and chiropractors as well as massage. So the reason for this interview is to talk more about helping massage therapists who are thinking of, wow, I want to get referrals from chiropractors. You're representing chiropractic, but there are many philosophies out there about working with massage therapists from a chiropractic standpoint. There's those, of course, who think there's no necessary aspect of having a massage therapist because chiropractic can do it all. And there's those who really feel it's a tandem, a relationship that's necessary. So if a massage therapist is working with, say, they're trying to get a referral from a chiropractor who does not have any massage therapists in their office, what's the best way, or what are some ways maybe to approach that chiropractor to have them perhaps maybe want to refer to them? What's the best way to do it, not push that chiropractor away?
Sure. I think the most important thing initially, if you want to create a relationship with any medical professional, whether it's a chiropractor or a medical doctor, any kind of person that may be referring people to you, is to be professional. So when you go to talk to that chiropractor, come across as a professional, show up dressed like a professional, right. Speak professionally, enunciate, go and be able to explain what it is you do and how you can help their patients.
Right. I often talk in my seminars about, massage therapists that say, oh, I can do everything, I can fix every kind of injury. They don't come across quite as believable as those who say, look, here's my strengths, here's the areas I'm not very good at, so make sure if you want to refer people to me, these are the areas I like to work with, and if you have these concerns, maybe this massage therapist might be a better referral for you. But they come across as more honest.
Right.
Right. You've probably seen that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, nobody that has a brain believes that you're going to walk in and be able to fix everything.
Right.
It just doesn't work that way. So if you come in and you say, hey, I'm really good with carpal tunnel syndrome, I'm really great with low backs. I mean, the number one thing that chiropractors see is low back pain.
Right.
Second, neck pain. Headaches is third. So, you come in and you say, hey, I'm great with tension headaches. I can really help and get these people better. Low back pain walks in, I can have them walking out in less pain or
right.
No pain. And that's a great selling point and much more realistic than trying to say, I can fix everything.
Right.
And probably one of the big things, especially coming out of school, that you wouldn't want someone to do is come in and say, I'm great at deep tissue work. I can bury my elbows all the way into their psoas. That for a doctor, that's going to be like they're a red flag at first. If you've got 15 years of experience, that's a little different.
Right.
But if you're walking out and saying that you can do intense deep tissue work and you may not have the background, that can be a red flag.
Right. And they also want to know about your philosophy of treatment, not just, oh, I can do this, I can fix this. They want to know more about how you feel about treatment, maybe your frequency of treatment, what your protocol might be for various injuries.
Yeah, that definitely. I mean, at least for me, I mean, different chiropractors have different ways of looking at treatment. Some have more maintenance approach. Some have, injury treatment approach, which is how I approach my practice. And so, for someone like me, I would like to see somebody that says, I can compliment what you're doing, and we can get this person better, quicker, and faster, and back to doing what they like to do.
As a team.
Yeah.
Years ago, I had an independent clinic. I always have. I've shared space with other doctors as well, osteopathic physicians and such. But there's a chiropractor in our area, and I was trying to figure out, which chiropractors I would refer to, because many patients in our rosters of clientele would come to us and they'd say, hey, you're great at massage, and I got in a car accident last week, and I'd want to refer that person to a chiropractor. And I wanted to make sure for certain types of injuries, certain chiropractors were great. And so I was trying to find out about this chiropractor in town, and I wanted to meet with him and ask him questions about his philosophy. And he just got angry in the middle of me talking to him. He said, "You just want to get referrals from me." And he got up and walked out. And I thought that was odd. But, chiropractors are always, I suppose, are inundated with massage therapists, begging them, "Here's my cards, here's referral pads, please, please, please refer to me." But how do we carefully talk to them and do it in a respectful way that we're upfront about our desire, obviously, for referrals? Is there a certain method or certain approaches that might work better than others?
Yeah, there is kind of the door that opens or the gate that opens for people is when there's a joint patient or patient-client, however you look at that. And so let's say you're a massage therapist and you have, Joe Schmo chiropractor's patient comes in and they weren't referred, they just came to you because, somebody referred them to
Right.
you. And then you work with them, get them better, and then you send the chiropractor a report. And then you have a way to open that door and go talk to them. You can say,
Right.
You can call them up, you can talk to their front desk person and say, "Hey, Dr. Schmo and I have the same patient. I'd love to talk to them about, how things are going, what I can do for them more, maybe some of the things that I do in my practice."
Right. On the first visit, I have mentioned in my classes, but also on our website, we have a packet of forms. You're welcome to use those for free. It has a male intake form, a female intake form, and some other information. But also, it has a report form, and I recommend having that printed up by your local printer in triplicate, a 3-part non-carbon type form where we would say, "Hey, I've either I'm treating your patient per your referral, or I'm treating your patient." They mentioned you're the doctor. I wanted to give you a heads up on what I found. I found these areas to be going on. I recommend this treatment series and protocol. I'll be working on this. If you have any questions, please contact me. But they get to see at that point what you're doing, how often you're doing it, and you start to create that back-end approach on contact and information. So if somebody has, let's say, if they have a massage therapists working for them in their offices already, the chiropractor already has a team, and typically those doctors are going to want to work with people who have insurance and have coverage. And then maybe they don't treat people who don't have any PIP coverage at all. They're the other person's at fault, but they don't themselves have any way to pay the bill. Is there a way to possibly approach them and bring in that business?
You bet. There is a way you can. It's a lot more tricky, and I would say everything is based off relationships. So if you're cold calling somebody, walking up, just showing up in their office, it's going to be a lot harder than if you know them either some other way through a local business group or
Right.
or whatever. At the athletic club, you run into them and you meet them and you introduce yourself. That'll be a lot easier, and then you're more likely to get overflow. If you have trust that you've developed in the community, the more that those people can get that back to that doctor, there's more
Right.
likely that that's going to expand those opportunities. But if you know that someone's running a big clinic and ethically they're open to referring out when the patient needs it, because some people frankly just aren't, right? They're just
Right.
going to keep everything in, which is unfortunate. But if they are open to that, then yeah, you can go in and you can say, "Hey, I understand you don't take third-party claims. I'd like to do that for you, or whatever it is. You're not taking these particular types of claims. Send them to me."
Right.
So.
There's a doctor in our town years ago that he had busy therapists, but they would not touch you if you didn't have insurance coverage. And I came up to him and I said, I'd love to help your patients out. I know you've got your own team, but either they're not getting well from a soft tissue standpoint. I'm very good at what I do. I'd love to help out. Send me one or two for me to show you my work. Or if they have no insurance, I'll take them. I'll wait. And I did. And I got 6 referrals that week. And I waited a couple of years to get paid. But you know what? It was a great savings account for me.
Sure, money in the bank, yeah.
Right. So you're basically saying that relationship and relationship building is going to be important versus just cold calling and saying, "Here's my card. Please refer to me."
Absolutely. I mean, that's critical in all levels of the medical field. It's all about communication. So like one of the big things I think in the more alternative fields, I like complementary better as a term, but typically chiropractors, massage therapists, some other types of practitioners are more considered complementary alternative, are less used to communicating than the other fields, interprofessionally. So,
Right.
if a PT sees a medical doctor's patient, they've got a report. And it can be
Right.
like bending an arm to try to get somebody to send a report. So the more that you interact and communicate and develop those relationships, the easier it's going to be to walk into with a chiropractor and say, Dr. So-and-so, I'm seeing this patient. And they're going to go, oh, the other doctor told me about you, and they said you were great. So yeah, I'd love to send you some people.
Right. Massage therapists like to find ways to increase their practice. They want to get more referrals and such. And maybe a chiropractor has no therapist whatsoever. They might believe in massage, but you want them to know more about your work. I have a feeling most chiropractors are quite busy, and so to say, hey, I want to give you a free treatment, that's probably not the best way, I would think, to help them. And maybe they would want somebody else to go in their place to get feedback. What's the best way to help them understand about your quality of work from your standpoint?
Again, I think it comes down to communication and professionalism. I certainly think it wouldn't hurt to offer, and just put that out there. Hey, if you have the time, I'm happy to give you a free massage, just so you can know what the quality of my work is. But if you don't, then here's what my reports look like. This is what I do when I see these cases. Right. You write me a referral, and this is what you're going to get from me. I think it's really important. There's such variety in the chiropractic profession, from extreme philosophical approaches to care,
right,
to more conventional approaches to care, like injury treatment. So it's super important as a massage therapist walking into a chiropractic office or interacting with a chiropractor to know where they're coming from the first get-go. So you go in and you get somebody who's super vitalistic and philosophical. You need to know that's where they're coming from, and their perception of things probably is going to lean less towards massage,
right?
Because they're going to be like, everything is about fixing the subluxation, and if you do that, then you don't need anything else. And that's a real extreme example. There's not that many of those people left, but they're there, right? And then there are people that practice like I do, and they're going to be like, yes, I want to refer out, so you prove to me that you deserve my referrals. Right. You prove to me that you're as professional as I am.
So I think also too, I've mentioned in this training about giving out free massage versus discounting. So when you approach a chiropractic office about a free massage, sometimes there's ethical considerations. They can't really receive things for free, perhaps. But what you might want to offer is, even when you walk in, there is a receptionist say, hey, I know your chiropractor is probably busy, but I'd like to give a demonstration massage treatment to have you see what that's like. There's not going to be any cost for that, but I want to give a demonstration, versus say, hey, it's free, or diminishing what you're doing. Say, I want to give some feedback, give you a treatment so you can give some feedback to your doctor about the quality of my work. And that's a great way, because those receptionists probably need massage and body work at that point as well.
And you look at the corollaries with the pharmaceutical industry. When they go into a medical office, most of the time they're not interacting with the docs, right?
Right.
They're interacting with the front desk people,
and they're gatekeepers. Right?
Yeah, and they're bringing in the cookies, and they're bringing in, hey, here you go, and so in a better way, in my opinion, we as Bodyworks have the opportunity to provide something more of value than cookies.
Right. So is there anything else that you want to add you think massage therapists should really be aware of when it comes to working with chiropractors? That's a wide open question, but any thoughts specifically that might be of help to us?
I mean, really, really crucial is knowing what kind of practice you're walking into, looking very, very closely at what the employment contract is. And I think you're going to talk about that later in another video. Some are dangerous, like not physically.
If you're going to work for a chiropractor,
frankly, and it's not exclusive to chiropractors. There's, if you're working for somebody, there can be some really, really bad contracts.
Right. And actually, the worst I've seen many different types of contracts. But you're probably speaking about non-compete clauses and those kinds of things.
Sure.
But yeah, they have great attorneys writing those contracts up. So again, if you do work with a chiropractor and they want to bring you on board, please have an attorney look at that for you.
Right. And I'm sure you'll talk about it later, but non-competes aren't necessarily bad because there's the property of the intellectual property of the doctor, but it's how it is worked out. How, what's your hourly wage? Like, is the non-compete clause insane? Because those definitely exist. So, are they going to treat you like a professional if, considering, assuming that you're acting like a professional? Are they going to treat you like a professional? Are you going to have a relationship where you can interact?
Right.
And that's difficult at some levels with any doctor. So there are those issues as well. There's a doctor's going to look at things from a doctor's perspective, whether they're a medical doctor or a chiropractor. And so I guess the important thing is to look at the quality of the relationship that you could have with this person,
right,
if you're going to work with them.
Right. So one added piece on that from a contract standpoint is the best thing for the massage therapist is to not give away all their rights. To say, hey, why don't we make the non-compete go into effect after the first 15 days or first 20 days of employment, because that way at least the chiropractor has an idea if they like you or not, because you don't want to go to work for them and one day later they fire you and you've given up your rights for the next year working in that area.
Right.
So
that's a great point, because I don't think that with a non-compete clause, I think the idea that you can't work in an area is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's legitimate. I don't think people should sign a contract like that. But let's say that you've got a patient base, or me, I have a patient base as a chiropractor, and somebody walks in to my clinic and they work for me for 6 months or a year, and then they want to leave and actively take my patients that I've cultivated over 15 years with them. That's not okay either, right?
Right.
So it's got to be reasonable. However, are they going to call, like, if patients have a choice?
Right.
So, if somebody calls after you leave, is that person going to have the ethical wherewithal to say, oh yeah, so-and-so's moved over to there? I always have.
Right.
There shouldn't, that's what is right for the patient. And, I know unfortunately some people don't do that.
And you should talk to your attorneys about that, but we typically negotiate, if you leave, that we're going to negotiate a cost per patient from a file standpoint. They get to have a copy of the file with the patient's permission and continue treatment on that without having disruption to that. But again, it's all negotiable, but make sure you talk to an attorney when it comes to employment aspects. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. This has been helpful. And if you have any questions, we'll give Dr. Neely's contact information on here as well. But very good. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
You bet.